marketing guru based at Harvard University in the United States. And this is one of his sort of most sort of accessible and intuitive concepts. And this is the idea of having generic strategies. And it is worthwhile bringing it in here because it helps to visualize that concept of having a competitive position. And the idea is that, if you look on the internet, you'll find various versions of this drawing, and you'll find triangles which are turned into squares or even pentagons because people have adapted them. But the essence of it is that there are only a limited number of fundamental competitive strategies. So I don't know if you can read it here, but we've got three here. So it's lowest cost, differentiation, and niche. And so the idea is that typically a business will try to build a position, a defensible position, by having a clear strategy by which they're going to compete. And if you like, the idea is, if that was a fight, if that was a boxing ring with lots of people in it, you'd want a corner to defend, because then you're not susceptible to attack from all sides. And it's not a bad analogy, because if you get yourself, for example, to be the lowest cost provider, when you're environmentally scanning, you're scanning a competitive environment, the number one thing you're looking for is, are any of my competitors beginning to threaten my lowest cost position? If I'm a low cost supermarket, I can map my competitors' products and I can see whether or not they're trying to steal my position. So the idea of having your back in a corner, having a position to defend, it can help with your environmental scanning. If you're not the lowest cost provider, if you're not able to differentiate your products or services notably from other providers in the market, and if you're not providing a niche product or service, the definition of niche is something which realistically only you're providing within the market, and it's something which you've got some fundamental so-called barriers to entry. It's not easy for others to replicate what it is you do. So typically, if you offer a service, and that service is built on 20 years of very solid experience in the vital areas, you'd argue that's a barrier to entry, because nobody's really going to be able to come in and threaten your position in terms of credibility if they haven't similarly got around 20 years of similarly suitable expertise. So that would be a barrier to entry then, if you're providing a niche service and expertise, if you like. So yeah, so the idea is you try, and again, this is a guideline. Okay, this helps. Treat this as not as gospel, but as a way of thinking about creating a concept of a competitive environment and how you can build yourself a competitive position. Realistically, what you ideally don't want to be, you don't want to be stuck in the middle, because if you're stuck in the middle, as you can imagine, then your environmental scanning needs to be very wide. You need to be looking over your shoulder on both sides, to take the analogy a bit further, as well as in front of you. So you're looking all around, you're looking to see the lowest cost provider, but if that lowest cost provider was actually adding a bit of value or increasing their quality, they could be creeping up behind you and actually stealing some market share from you. If there's a competitor who are actually now managing to differentiate themselves, they're providing some added value products or services or accessories such that they're becoming a slightly different, they've got some advantages within the competitive environment. Well, again, they could start to nibble at your market share if you're stuck in the middle. And similarly then, if a niche company emerges, well, a niche company will often position themselves as a premium provider into a market. They'll be able to command a premium price. So you might see a niche provider nibbling away at the top end of your customer range, those which perhaps are, you know, the best customers, the best payers, those which are prepared to pay the most. You might find a niche provider which would start to nibble away at the top end of your customer base. So the idea is, you know, is that you're trying to pick yourself a position and not be nibbled away at from all sides, which means because it puts extra emphasis then on your environmental scanning to make sure that you really are, you know, keeping abreast of your competitive position and trying to address, you know, all aspects of all the little curveballs which are coming from all directions. Okay. So I came up with a really Mickey Mouse example here, but here we are in Pembrokeshire. The sun is nearly coming. Look, it's today, it's gone tomorrow. So if we took the example, you know, of ice cream providers in Pembrokeshire, so you could argue that, you know, the niche would be somebody who's using maybe slightly different materials, premium quality, you know, the very best, clearly, you know, top of the market, and they've got a top of the market price. So they're the only ones maybe who they make their own ice cream, you know, on their own farm or whatever. They import their own vanilla pod and they make a premium ice cream. You know, the whole thing is obviously shouts of quality and it's a premium product. It's niche. They're the only ones doing it. In Pembrokeshire, they charge a top price. Then you have a differentiated customer company, which might well have started from the middle ground, but have realised that there is that they can build a position by offering accessories or options, and so they've got, you know, different flavours, etc., etc., and that allows them to offer a range of prices. So that's differentiated. They're offering something a bit different. Then you've got the lowest cost. You know, they've got the cheapest ice cream, the cheapest cones, and they're selling at the lowest price in the market. So if you want a cheap one, you buy that. You can imagine then that if you're actually thinking of starting up your own ice cream business and you're thinking about doing this, you're stuck in the middle. You know, whenever somebody's going to look for a product, if they're looking for a cheap product, there's someone who's got something cheaper. If they're looking for something with a different flavour, they're probably going to go to the differentiated company. Or if everybody in your family likes a different flavour, you're going to go to the differentiated company. And if, you know, you've got money to burn and everybody wants a great ice cream, you're going to go to the top end. And so, yes, in the middle, you will pick up some business, but you can see that business model in the middle there is susceptible to attack from all sides. You know, if the lowest cost producer manages to up their game a little bit in terms of quality, they're going to start to nibble away. You know, the word will get around that actually they're okay, there's nothing wrong with them, and they start to nibble away at your market share. So the thing is, it's got no notable features or so-called USPs, unique selling points. You know, getting into the corners are typically consistent with having USPs. So the USP is here is where the lowest, you know, hours are the cheapest, hours are, you know, the best value for money. Value for money is something different. We'll come on to that in a minute. But you'd see people arguing they're offering the best value for money. Here it will be, you know, we can service the needs of the whole family. Come to us. We've got a full range of options, and you can have whatever you like. And here the USP is premium ingredients, locally produced in Pembrokeshire. You know, if you want the very best, come to us. And so, you know, these are the kind of USPs that you can build from being in the middle. You can't really build a USP from being in the centre of the triangle. So, if we had to just think a little bit then about, I've given you four examples there. So, if we think about the top one, in terms of cars, so where do you think Rolls-Royce would fit into that triangle?
Niche.
Why?
Premium product, not standard almost.
It's posh. It's at the posh end, isn't it?
Yeah, and from the point of view of customers' perception, which again, this is all about customers' perception, by the way. It's not about what you think, although you can demonstrate it, it's about customer perception. So why would a customer perceive that as being a niche product? bespoke nature of it, handmade, you know, millions of choices of colour. The person who built the engine puts their name on it. I mean, it's and you know, very high qualities of engineering. So you know, they do.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So basically a niche product. Nobody else is really doing it the same. That's the essence of it. You know, some of the other top end providers would try to get close, but really, you know, nobody else is offering the same type of product with the same aura about it. You know, Rolls-Royce says, you know, you've really made it. Okay, so yeah, so that's an issue. So what about then those supermarkets, particularly those ones that I've chosen there? Think about the way in which they look to pitch themselves to the customers through their advertisements. Lowest cost. So they're all trying to pitch, you know, they have the things where they tap in the back of the pocket. Asda, it's about money. You know, Aldi, Morrison's are always about deals, good quality, you know, with great prices. Lidl and Aldi, you know, they've built a business on, you know, being seriously cheaper than the likes of Tesco's, but with good quality food. They're German businesses, and German businesses tend to have pretty good quality stuff. So, you know, they're not cheap and cheerful. It's not rubbish, but it's very good value for money. So they build a business about trying to be. They're also, you can imagine, those four businesses are all trying to squeeze into this corner. So they're all trying to outcompete each other to get into that corner. They're all trying to be perceived by their customer bases as being the lowest cost. And okay, there is a bit more subtlety to it, because Morrison's argument isn't so much that they're the cheapest. Theirs is on a value for money basis. They're saying for the money you pay, you get excellent value, and the blend, the combination of quality and value is best. So they're actually adopting a slightly, you know, modified. They know that they can never really be as cheap as the very cheapest. So they've got an adopted, slightly modified strategy there. They're trying to shuffle themselves along this border here. They can't get into the lowest cost corner, so they're shuffling themselves this way. They're differentiating themselves on value for money. They're saying we are the best value for money provider. And so they're trying to navigate their way across there. What about, you know, Bluestone, for example?
It's a differentiation there. So not niche, because there are models very similar, but for the actual geographic area that they're in, they are very different. They're not on Woodley Park or Holiday Cottage, they are...
Yeah, I agree. I think that's right. And then their marketing is very much about Pembrokeshire and about, you know, getting out and about in the fresh air, and not apart from the water park, of course, but, you know, getting out and about. And they have a strategy of building partnerships with coast-steering providers and boat trip providers. So they have a you know, a core offer with peripherals, which is all about the Pembrokeshire experience, with great accommodation, you know, with something to do when it rains. And so yes, they've sought to differentiate themselves from the plain vanilla, to use the ice cream analogy, from the plain vanilla offer of holiday accommodation. And then what about EE, which was Orange, everything everywhere, and 4G mobile telecoms? I don't know whether you were aware, but they were they stole a march on everybody else. They were the first company to offer a 4G tariff to mobile phone users in the UK. So
that was niche.
yeah, so they were initially niche, because initially they had the only 4G offer